Hello everybody, my name is Adam Jastrzorski. In this video we're going to take a quick look at how to use the area model for fraction multiplication tool that I created in GeoGebra. When you load it up in your web browser, it looks like this. The first thing I recommend doing, especially if you're projecting this on a screen in front of a class, is to make the applet full screen. And you can do that using the full screen button in the bottom right corner of the applet here. That takes us to full screen view. Now, let's use an example to show how you might do a visual representation of fraction multiplication using an area model. The first thing I'll do is I'll move things around a little bit here. I'll note that this big square here represents one whole. And that's all I'm going to need for this particular problem that I'm about to solve. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I can drag the background to move things around, to pan, and I can roll the mouse wheel to zoom in or zoom out. I can also use these zoom buttons here, which might be more convenient if you're at an interactive whiteboard. Just click the zoom button and then click where you want to zoom. All right, so that looks good to me. Now, for our example, let's do 2/3 times 4/5. So I'll just select the pen tool and I'll write 2/3 times 4/5. By the way, while that pen tool is selected, if you want to erase your pen markings, you can do so by holding the right mouse button and just dragging over the pen marking. You can also clear all of the pen markings at any time by clicking the clear pen button here. Just make sure that you have the arrow tool selected when doing that. So how do we do 2/3 times 4/5 using an area model? Well, once again, this whole square here represents one whole. And I'm going to split that up into thirds and fifths. So I'll split it up into thirds horizontally. And to do that, I can select this slider here and just drag that slider to 3. So now you can see we've split the square up into thirds horizontally. And I'm going to split it up into fifths vertically. I can do that using this slider. Just drag that slider up to a value of 5. And now you can see going up and down, that is vertically, we've divided our square into fifths. Now 2/3 times 4/5 is the area of a rectangle with dimensions of 2/3 and 4/5. And that's what I'm going to create in this square. And I can do that using the blue point right here. I'm going to create a rectangle that is 2/3 by 4/5. So across the top, I'll make that dimension 2/3. So I'm going to drag this dot 2 of the 3 sections across, and then I'm going to drag it down 4 of the 5 divisions or sections, since I want 4/5. So this rectangle that I've now created has dimensions of 2/3 across the top and 4/5 going vertically. Now, what is the area of that rectangle? That's what we're interested in, because that is what 2/3 times 4/5 is. Well, notice that we have a bunch of little rectangles in our square here. In fact, we have 15 of them. So each one of those little rectangles is a 15th. And we have shaded 8 of them. So this rectangle that we've shaded here has an area of 8 15ths. So we can say that 2/3 times 4/5 equals 8 15ths. Okay. By the way, there is a button down here at the bottom that'll allow you to kind of showcase just that shaded rectangle. Perhaps you'll find that useful for something. Now, I did add a second point up here in case you want to attack this from a slightly different approach. Sometimes we think of 2/3 times 4/5 as 2/3 of 4/5. So if you're looking at it that way, what we would probably want to do is first start by showing 4/5 of our rectangle, just like that. There's your 4/5. And then we want 2/3 of the 4/5. So if I just showcase the 4/5 there, what's 2/3 of that? Well, it would be that. There's your 2/3. Now, what do we have here? Well, once again, in orange, we have 8 15ths. So we're equal to 8 15ths for that product. Perhaps you want to deal with fractions that are greater than 1. You can do that. I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller and move it over here. You can add more holes here if you want. You can go up to 4 across and you can add an entire second row. So that will allow you to deal with fractions that are greater than 1. There's an undo button up here in the top, so you can go back one step at a time, as well as a redo button. And last but not least, there is a refresh button here, which will just set the applet to its initial state. So there you go. I hope you find that helpful. Take care.